the Dog Show. Another new episode is coming up tonight.
It's the Dog Show. It's the Dog Show. It's the Dog Show. It's the Dog Show.
You're listening to the one and only Dog Show. Your hosts, Troop Brinson and Smooch Moncrief.
Just two dudes talking Georgia football.
Welcome, dog fans, to the one and only Dog Show. Troop and Smooch, and we are live tonight. And we got another SEC championship to celebrate. We've been celebrating for a few days now.
SEC
Smooch.
champs, baby.
Yeah. The Georgia Bulldogs. We got a little break as we contemplate the season, and the Dogs, of course, get prepared, get healthy, get ready for either Ole Miss or Tulane. We anticipating to be in Tulane. We anticipate. I mean, we don't.
I love it.
Oh, that's a shot.
That's
a shot across the bow.
Shots fired.
Tulane in Georgia. Yeah, no, Ole Miss likely. But we don't know because our coaching staff is in flux.
Yeah.
We've heard everybody's coming back, but Lane, we don't know how that's going to affect the locker room or their players' motivations. We don't know.
Right.
But Georgia beat them one time, and Georgia's much better now than when they played them before. Anyway, so Georgia's looking at that game in I guess January 1st next year.
Next year.
Yeah.
Yeah, Troop, I think that if you look at where these teams are, I would not say that Ole Miss has played as well as they did against Georgia since the Georgia game. And Georgia has done nothing but play better than they did since the Ole Miss game. And I don't want to disrespect Tulane by saying it's definitely going to be Ole Miss. But I really like the Dogs' chances against either team. And I really think that I think you said it today. Nate Frazier will run through Ole Miss. And if their defense plays any near as well as they played against Alabama, it's bad. It's a bad news for Ole Miss. This is a good draw for Georgia, Troop.
It was a good draw. And a lot of fans were like, why are we still number 3 when we should have moved up to number 2? We talked about it before then in our chat group that it felt like there were going to be some decisions made to get the matchups they wanted. Maybe that was the case. I don't not know for sure. But I feel like at 3, Georgia's in better shape to face like the winner of that game. And then even because we saw what Ohio State did. And we have immense respect for that team and the talent they have, and they can take Georgia to the last play of the ballgame. We feel that.
We've seen it.
But Georgia is a team that has been an ascension. And several weeks ago, we said ideally, Georgia and Kirby Smart, they're trying to get this young team, to come together and to have experience to build towards a certain point in the season where they are peaking when they need to be. And when you got so many young players, and Georgia has 54% of their roster is
4%,
first 2-year players. So either freshman, redshirt freshman, sophomore. That's all. In the last 2 years, a lot of those guys are playing now, and that's a product of the system and in college football right now. But that's where you see growth, and Georgia has shown that. And we're excited about that because it has kind of played out how we would say, as big fans, we'd say this is the way it should play out. It doesn't always happen that way, but it has for Georgia, and they played their best ball. They've managed to win in a lot of games, Smooch, where it was highly contested in the second half, and Georgia found a way because they played better than you do in the fourth quarter. They do. They're built that way.
Yeah.
And they survived those games. But now, 28-7 against Alabama is not surviving.
Nope. That's belt to booty, as they say. It's funny. Georgia talks about, or we talk about Georgia and we say, or we hear other people talk about Georgia, and we hear this, Georgia's a missed field goal by Tennessee, or this by Auburn, or this here and this there from, being a 3 or 4 loss team. That's actually all true. But you know what is the common denominator? Georgia won all those games. Mississippi State could actually say the same thing. They lost so many games by that one little increment, that one little thing at the end of the game, and they had a loss, a type of season that removes them from even consideration of relevance. I don't doubt that Georgia has weathered those storms. I'm not arguing with that. They most certainly have. But the difference is when you're coached by Kirby Smart, you win more of those games than you lose. And so Georgia is now battle tested. They've been to the limit. They've been to the very brink of collapse and have still won. And now these kids are playing fast and with confidence. I will tell you right now, I think I said this on the chat, there is not a faster defense in college football than the Georgia Bulldog defense. Brooks Austin mentioned that this week on his show as well.
And he did. And we love Brooks Austin. He's doing a great job at really breaking things down and diagramming plays. And even our buddy, our contributor and our dog chat, good friends, Scott Fitzgerald, talked to Brooks Austin on the sideline. I was like, hey, he let him know that he was a part of the dog show.
Yeah.
And I talked to Brooks for a moment, but it is a great job for that. But I feel like Georgia has played better and better. And
yes,
even though we are critical of Kirby Smart and some of these games that there are should be easy wins.
Right.
You see the value in that when you get to this point in the season, when you're playing, Austin P, and you're not dominating the way you want to.
Yes,
it's irritating. But when you see that the value in using those games to improve on something,
right,
to focus on something, to get better at something that you're not good at, that's what you use those games for. That's what you use practice for.
Right.
And if you think of those games as kind of like a glorified practice, and that's what Kirby does. And he's not looking at like a Notre Dame team, or some of these other teams that's going to put up 60, 70 points. Tennessee does that. A lot of teams do that. USC, they want to impress you with how bad they beat a team that they should beat. But when you got a couple of national championships, and not just what Kirby has done with Georgia, but he's had a resume of beating teams. Or when he coached for Alabama, he's got a resume of doing things the right way and improving players and getting the most out of players. He doesn't have to impress you against a team that they're going to beat anyway. It's about getting your players better, getting your program better, preparing them to a point when the games really matter, that you know what you got. Because if you don't know what you got players sometimes who won't perform or won't perform to the standard that a team like Georgia has. And Georgia is the standard of college football. So they're going to do things differently than all these other teams do. So when you see these scores, you see some of the box scores as well, don't get impressed by them. Pay attention when it gets to this point in the season.
That's right.
And Georgia's looking at right now 12-1. 12-1.
Yep.
Back-to-back SEC champions.
3 points from 4 points from 13-0. I mean, that's where we
could have been undefeated.
Mm-hmm.
But if you haven't, you can do it right now because it was a great show. If you want to pull up right now on YouTube and look at me and Smooch on the rapid reaction after the game, pull it up.
That's good stuff.
It's the raw stuff.
We both watched it multiple times. Yeah.
It's the stuff right after we win a championship. We hang a banner. Pull it up. The rapid reaction from Alabama and Georgia. You'll see what we really feel, and we haven't had a lot of time to think about it. Pull it up. It's already going crazy. Been going crazy this past week on YouTube.
Wow. Take
a look at it. We're smoking the Victory cigars. I'm smoking a pipe right now. I'm still celebrating, Smooch.
You're doing great, man. Hey, you're doing great. And I think that's something, by the way, speaking of our viewership right now, guys, we have, we're still young and we're building up. A lot of guys that go into podcasting, they have connections in the industry. We do not. this is something that Troop and I, as dog fans, we have a couple of connections with maybe the Georgia program, but in terms of podcasting and media, we have none. And so we've built this thing up step by step. And so what we're trying to tell you is that the recent viewership and the interaction we're getting from you guys, it's highly appreciated because this thing is starting to get bigger and bigger and bigger. And, we started this thing for fun. This is something Troop and I did because we wanted to do it. The idea that literally thousands of people would want to pay attention to it, that's a real cool blessing. And it's really... It makes it rewarding that our podcast is like the Georgia Bulldogs peaking right now. So,
yeah, we need to start calling out some of our regulars.
We really do.
We do have some. Who's the biggest regular on our? Is it Mike Maddox?
Mike Maddox is a truck driver, I believe.
He is.
That brother responds to about everything, especially on YouTube. There's a Motley Crue something. I can't remember his name. He responds to a bunch. And then over on TikTok, there's a few guys as well. They're not coming to the top of my head. There's a couple of guys I talk with regularly over there. But you guys are the bedrock that shows like this are built on. It takes 7-8 years to build something in this space, especially when you have no connections and nobody jumping in to help you.
Even got like Eric Taylor from Bulldog Report gives us all the stats we need and pumps our podcast.
Right. He promotes our podcast. He gives us any stat. We can literally message Bulldog Report, Eric Taylor, with anything we need, and he gets it to us. Great guy. He's been a guest on the show a few times. He'll be a guest on the show again, maybe even in this interim period we have. Yeah. Just his stuff is just so it's the analytics side, I guess you could say. And
it's like stats.com.
Stats.com. Bulldog Report and stats.com are probably the same site.
That's right. Thank you, Eric. Appreciate you, buddy.
Appreciate you,
and
buddy.
Mike Maddox,
Absolutely.
all you guys. We appreciate you. We're actually kicking around. And we're having a conversational. There's no game this week. We're having a conversation about the Georgia Bulldogs. And we're actually kicking around doing a little separate, tied into the dog show.
Sure.
But a Troop and Smooch after dark kind of thing where we talk about, you kind of get down a little deeper into just some topics that are not for everybody.
Right. Free flowing.
And they may rub some people the wrong way, and that's okay. But we're gonna have our tobacco and our cocktails. We'll talk about those as well.
Yeah.
And just have a good time and talk to our big fans. And maybe bring some fans on.
Maybe bring some people on. Let them direct the direction of the conversation. Just a real casual, what's the word? Organic type of flowing show in the evening, the late evening.
Yes. Like I said, with a pipe or a cigar and a cocktail, and I'm a bar manager, so I can tell you about some cocktails. We can make some drinks on the show if we want to. You can
do a whole tutorial, man. You can do
I got some whiskey right here.
I was about to say, is that Hunker Down bourbon back there?
It's Hunker Down. Let's do it.
Absolutely.
So, yeah.
Troop makes the best old fashioned in the world. I
think that too.
Yeah, I know you do, and that's what I dig about you.
So everywhere we go, me and Smooch have been to Alaska, and I mix cocktails that are they're customized made cocktails. They are just for that environment, just for that experience. And then we had a Georgia game, and we were making drinks. I made 2 drinks for the Alabama game.
Oh,
One was a Ringo Pick 6.
Yeah.
That Chad Kennedy absolutely loves. And then I made what was the other one? The Demons Out.
Demons Out.
Get the demons out. Alabama brings the demons. We're getting the demons out.
We were just one Alabama game too soon for that, but demons out after the SEC title.
That's still a fixture in the dog show drink category. But anyway, just thinking about that, you folks, let us know. If you think that's a great idea, let us know.
Yeah, let us know what y'all think about that. We'd love to take calls and just kind of have a casual night of.
Because you guys are all a part of the ascension and are all a part of the growth of this podcast. And we're going to bring you right along with it.
Yeah.
As we get, as we accumulate and have some opportunities to do some bigger things. You guys are part of that, the groundswell of it, and we appreciate you for it. And we won't forget that.
100%.
I promise you, we won't forget it.
We're not the type that forgets that. I promise you. We are
because most of
loyal
all,
to a fault.
We're not here to make money. We're here to have fun.
That's right.
And so we want to talk to people who have fun with us and believe in us and believe in the Georgia Bulldogs. So there is some other things going on. With Georgia,
what you got?
Did dominate 28-7 over Alabama, and that was was a part of getting those demons out. Get them out. Get them out. And we talked about it that the Saban's not there. The mystique is not there. No. The officials tried on one drive.
They tried to get them back in on one drive, and that wasn't even enough.
Wasn't enough. We saw it, and we talked about it. We was like, okay, get ready. Get ready. On our chat group, we were like, get ready. Here come the penalties, and they did.
We're saying it all over our chat. Exactly that. We're like, okay,
it's coming.
Georgia's up. It's coming. Everybody prepare. Kirby, I know that he prepares them for it. We have no information on how Kirby prepares, but you know darn well Kirby said, hey, you're going to get some bad calls on this drive. And I really think when he pulled Melo over after Melo's unsportsmanlike conduct, I really think he was saying, this is what I was talking about. You cannot give them, you have to be beyond reproach at this point in the game, penalty-wise. And sure enough, officials jumped in and did what they do, and that's prop up Bama, and that led to their only touchdown. But even the officials weren't enough, and that's what you've got to beat when you beat Alabama.
And we're getting messages right now from the Dog Show chat from Mercer Gary and Jack Kennedy, Scott Fitzgerald, Tyler Brinson. Those guys are all letting us know, because we also got some other things going on this today as a schedule for next year. It just came out, Smooch. And let's take a look at what you guys can pull this up or we can send it to you.
Yeah.
Not as tough a schedule as the past 2 years, but still
we'll put it
SEC.
up right here. I got it. We'll put this up on the screen for them here.
Yeah, and they're looking at 9 SEC games, and Kirby Smart's made his opinion very, very prevalent on what he thinks about what that's going to mean, an extra loss.
Right.
But Georgia does have 2 games to open the season, starting on September 5th against Tennessee State, and then Western Kentucky. Those are your first 2 ball games to get acclimated and look at these players, which Georgia's so young. You're going to see a lot of the same players.
Absolutely.
And then it gets a little bit crazy as Georgia does go to Arkansas. Arkansas has been a team that has been a very dangerous team offensively, but not that great defensively. We don't know what.
They just haven't gotten their footing. But there's talent there.
But the 4th game we do have tickets for. Thank you, Mercer Gary.
We'll be there, baby.
Oklahoma comes to Athens on the 26th of September, and we were there. We were here this past season on 27th of September against Alabama. But we are going to be there for the Oklahoma game. Georgia does the next week also host Vanderbilt. It won't be the same Vanderbilt team, though, will it, Smooch?
No, it will 100% not be. They lost over 40 from this team, and it's just not going to be the same, no matter who your quarterback is. Hint, hint, nudge, nudge.
We know.
Yeah, we know.
If it's Jared Curtis, that would be the best possible scenario for the Georgia Bulldogs.
The best case scenario is that Jared Curtis starts that game, because a couple of things. Number one, a freshman in the SEC is never going to blow up the SEC. And number two, no freshman quarterback is beating Kirby Smart. And as a matter of fact, he may have serious career decision concerns by the end of that game. So absolutely. The Vanderbilt game on the 3rd, not as big as the Alabama game on the 10th, Troop.
10th, yeah, 10-10.
And by the way, I haven't told you this yet, Troop Brinson, but I'm working on you and I tickets for Tuscaloosa for that game right now.
Let's go.
So we are working on that right now.
I'm there.
Absolutely.
Well, maybe it's time for some press passes too to be on the field. So we could do that too.
We need to get to work on that.
We could do that. I mean, that's we can do that.
Yeah.
But I will say about that Vanderbilt game, just because of recruiting and people a little bit ticked off still with Jared Curtis because he committed twice to Georgia before decommitting very late. Yes. Yeah, they're rebuilding. It's a rebuilding kind of situation.
It's a
with
rebuilding
Vanderbilt.
year. This is their peak this year. That's what I don't think people are getting about this.
Yeah. And when players leave, he was never a Georgia Bulldog, but he felt like he was because he was at every home game.
Right.
And he was recruiting for us until he wasn't. And then, but it feels like Kirby Smart took this personal.
Agreed.
And Kirby Smart took it personal a couple years ago when Vanderbilt caused us not to have a senior night on the COVID year.
Oh, that's
and so they
right.
canceled that. And then Georgia went in the next 2 years, made them aware that don't do that to our players. Yes. And Georgia beat them 55-0 and 62-0, I think, back-to-back years.
Yeah.
Like, we can call the dogs off, but we don't have to.
We
don't do that again.
Don't do it again.
And now with Jared Curtis kind of putting them in a bad spot and with quarterbacks, because quarterbacks are a position that typically commit early on in the process.
Right.
Late spring,
that affects
summer.
your recruiting. It affects your recruiting for a half a year.
Because you don't get multiple quarterbacks in a cycle. You don't.
Right.
Not high level quarterbacks, but you get maybe one. So if you're that guy, be that guy. And if you're not, stick to your team. And even if we believe that Jared Curtis is a special player, dude, he did Georgia kind of wrong. Maybe for his best. I don't know. I don't say it's for his benefit because I don't think he's going to be better for it. But it was not. It left a bad taste in our mouth the way he did that late and after committing twice and shutting down everything. It seemed like, and then not cool.
You know, after speaking with his family, Troop, which I did, I've seen Jared Curtis play, and the whole time he's saying, "Go Dogs." I mean, he's saying it. He's wearing Georgia stuff in his warm-ups. His family is even telling me, he's a dog. There's no way to change that. That's all fine. And if Vanderbilt is the right fit for you, and you're going to go off and do great there, and then get into the NFL, that's awesome. We wish no one any ill will. The whole problem is he committed to Georgia twice, 2 different times, and then even reassured us online, don't worry, I am a dog through and through after a Vanderbilt visit. Those types of things for a coaching staff like Georgia has that is relying on recruiting, and you don't want, as we saw with Dylan Raiola and Pug, the 2 elite quarterbacking prospects don't often live well together coming in the same class. That doesn't always happen. I actually think we have the better of the 2 now, by the way. But so Georgia's not trying to upset that apple cart, knowing that Curtis and his family, especially his mother, has told them they are dogs. They're coming. The first decommitment was an anomaly. We're coming in. And they didn't do it. That's fine. Look, go get yours. Do the best you can. Make your money. Hopefully you get drafted into the NFL. But next year, if you're starting, it's going to be a bad day.
It's going to be bad.
Yeah.
A rough season. Georgia does have back-to-back Alabama state games as they do host after traveling to going back into Tuscaloosa. And Georgia will host Alabama 2 years based on what they've said in 2028. We'll host Bama, but not 2027. But they do play Auburn and the next week.
The Georgia Iron
off week.
The Georgia Iron Bowl, so to speak. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, back-to-back Bama teams. And then they'll have an off week before they play Florida and
this
Atlanta.
week. Yeah,
Atlanta.
Exactly. This year's Florida game is in Atlanta, so
and who knows if Lagway's going to be there? They're going to have a new coach. Coach Summerall's going to be there, but maybe they will.
They're a program in
quarterback.
flux, but the one thing you can count on is that Florida will be up for Georgia, and Florida always has great athletes because Florida is just – if you only get 10% of the athletes in Florida, you've still got a really great team.
Buddy, it's so tough convincing, and this is a Troop and Smooch after dark conversation. It's so tough to convince other conferences that teams like Florida and Auburn are tough games.
That's exactly right.
I don't care if they got 6 losses on the season. Those are games you have to fight tooth and nail to win those games.
That is so true, Troop. That is a beautiful point. I said this this past week to someone. If Ohio State had to play Auburn 4 times, they would lose 2 of them. I believe that. I really do. People do not understand when they look at win and loss records because we're beating up each other in the SEC. They do not understand the level of play an SEC team that is above 500 can literally beat anyone in the country every year. That's just the way it is.
And you can look at their record if you want to. That makes you a casual if that's all you do. But then look what the NFL does with those players from those teams. Mm-hmm. When the NFL says, they've got a plethora of NFL talent, then you find out and that maybe, but the Big Ten, it's not the Big Ten anymore, Big 18, they dismiss that. But the NFL will let you know where the talent is every year. And the coaching staff matters so much at this level to kind of get those folks finely tuned and pointed in the right direction. Florida has trouble getting pointed in the right direction often, but they can beat you. Who did they keep out of the playoffs this year? Talk to me. Texas is not in the playoffs this year because Florida.
Yeah.
Florida. It's not because Texas is not good. Florida has got enough.
Right. It's not because of Georgia. It's because of Florida that Texas is not in the playoffs. That's exactly right.
Yeah. So those teams, Auburn has a defense that took Alabama to the wire. It's not because Alabama played terribly.
No.
Auburn's got immense defensive talent. They struggled at quarterback.
Right.
Otherwise, it's just that they aren't a complete team, but they have enough talent to take you to the last end. If you make a mistake, if you turn the ball over at the wrong point of the game, they will beat you. And that's what a team like Auburn and Florida will do to you. And
100%.
If you don't believe it, it's okay. Play them. Put them on your schedule. You won't.
Exactly, Big Ten. Put
won't.
them on your schedule. That's exactly it. Yeah.
You won't. You got to be buttoned up. And Georgia's a buttoned up kind of a team. They'll the details matter to Georgia. They'll beat these teams in the details. And if you look at just the box scores, you don't see that, but they'll beat you in the details over and over and over again. And that's what happens. Georgia does also go to Ole Miss and host Missouri. And me and Smooch were talking about this pre-show, that the last 2 games of the season.
Yes.
And this only matters to folks who are longtime Georgia fans who, when looking at these schedules now, like a South Carolina game, and we're used to playing South Carolina in September when it is hot as Hades.
Oh, my gosh.
I have been to Columbia many times, and it's so hot in September to go over there and play that game. You camped out on the fairgrounds. There's nothing fun to do. You're trying to get out with a win. It's a great environment once you get in the stadium.
The upside down cockroach that is their stadium.
It's an upside down cockroach stadium, but once they get rolling, man, that's a fun place to play. But now it's in November. It's going to be a much more fun game, and that's right before Georgia Tech. And so those last 2 games will be a lot of fun. There's games that Georgia should win, but the atmosphere is going to be electric, and we like that. We talked about it before the season, Smooch, because Georgia, with a couple of national championships, it felt like for a few years we were just rolling through games and there was no anxiety. In the last 2 years, lots of anxiety.
Yeah.
And so these games right here, you're looking at South Carolina and Georgia Tech, it's going to be a lot more fun at the end of the year for South Carolina. Georgia Tech's always there. And so that's the 2026 schedule. We already put it up for you to take a look at.
Yeah.
Just came out. Just came out.
We were in pre-show prep when it came out, as a matter of fact. I think with South Carolina, if we want something fun to talk about, I'm not
quarterback.
Sure. Yeah, they don't have
Shane Beamer.
They don't have their quarterback next year. Why wouldn't that kid go somewhere? And I don't know. I don't know where he's going to go. I got no inside information. But what about Miami? Don't those kids?
Who do they need? They're losing Carson Beck, right?
Right. They're losing Carson Beck. They just had the number 1 pick in the draft the year before. Why wouldn't he be Sellers be a perfect solution right there? Look for that. That's just dog show intuition. But I got a feeling Dog Show Intuition's right. I do not think South Carolina holds on to their quarterback. Why would they? Why would they? What is cooking on offense that's going to put a high-level talent quarterback into the NFL at a high draft pick? The answer is nothing. And so I would say look for South Carolina's quarterback to be gone, Troop.
We predicted that the North Sellers and that Carolina team would possibly be a playoff team this year.
They should be. They should have been.
It was a very popular pick based on that.
Yep.
But when you're not good at the details, which is what high-level SEC teams do, then you're going to lose games you shouldn't lose. That's
right.
What happened. So.
That is 100% correct. You know, getting taken to the wire against Kentucky is not the same as getting taken to the wire against Purdue. That's the difference between the SEC and the Big Ten.
We already got nine conference games. Well,
9 conference games. Yeah. And that means that, you may get a few more losses from these SEC teams, which is what people want to see so that they can sneak more teams in. But the difference is the SEC teams that survive. We talk about Kirby all the time, taking a bunch of 5-star and 4-star monsters, putting them to a room, and the one that walks out is the starter. That's what the SEC, that's a microcosm of what the SEC is. Yeah, you're going to get some SEC teams beat up, and you're going to get some SEC teams with some losses, probably 1 or 2 more losses than they would normally have. But the monster that comes out of that is going to dominate. So a 9-game SEC schedule, even though it may mean a few less SEC teams in the playoffs, it's going to mean a nightmare for those that face the top teams from the SEC.
It will be. And another point in the SEC, we don't know. There's been so many coaches openings this season.
There you go.
And now I don't really want to talk about Michigan and Sharon. But
that's next week.
if they don't, if DeBoer hangs on to Alabama, he's still showing you that. Okay, so Saban's last year. This is a good stat for Alabama fans who are tuning in right now. Saban's last year, he lost 2 games. 2 games. That's not bad. That's acceptable.
He had 3 consecutive 2-loss seasons basically to end his career.
And we're calling based on the eye test too. We saw that there were things trending the wrong way for Alabama. They weren't beating teams the same way. They weren't buttoned up or disciplined at all. They were leading a lot of college football and a lot of penalties. But then when they brought DeBoer in, if he does not win a national championship, is anybody predicting based on what we saw the past 3 weeks with DeBoer and Alabama, they're going to win a natty? They could.
Of course,
you make a lot of money
there.
if you bet on them and won it.
Right. Well, the talent's there, true, but I'll tell you some stuff I've actually heard here in Alabama. I'm behind enemy lines here, people. Life among the Sabanites.
Smooch is in Huntsville.
I am in Huntsville. But one of the things I have heard from Alabama fans, this shocked me, that they were saying, well, there's a plus to either side of this. If Alabama makes the playoff, good, that's fine. We'll go make a run because we've got talent. No one argues with Alabama's talent. They've got serious talent. But what surprised me was that I heard these same fans say, but if Alabama doesn't make the playoff, that means we may be able to get rid of DeBoer. And I heard that on numerous occasions. That
you better have a better replacement.
What's your alternative, right? You going after Glenn Schumann? Kirby Smart's not. Schumann? You want Schumann?
Dan Lanning's not coming.
No. And so that was a really interesting thing because it reflected a level of dissatisfaction and even panic that I have not ascertained thus far.
But the panic is coming because if they don't win the Natty this year, they will have consecutive seasons with 4 losses.
Consecutive seasons with 4 losses. If they do not win the Natty, they have consecutive 4-loss seasons. When is the last time that happened?
Let's back up, Alabama fans, and just see where you are. That could be 10 losses in 3 seasons. 10. 10. Do some math. I'm not going to do it for you. 8 losses in the past 2 seasons is not the standard of college football. It's not. Right. It's not. And we told you this. We told you this back when Georgia was getting ready to play Florida State and beat the brakes off them, that it wasn't the same. And you would not be better if Saban retired. And then Saban retired, and you're finding out. If you don't win the Natty this year, you will have back-to-back 4-loss seasons. We warned you of it. You're not guaranteed anything. And you've seen that before Saban was a real thing, after Saban is a real thing. And we're telling you can be a team that can play some great games and can challenge and you put together, but you won't be a team that just dominates folks throughout your schedule. And that team right now is Georgia. And Georgia's exactly doing that with a team that is predominantly very, very young. And I looked at today, Georgia may return their entire offensive line. Those guys may, I mean, it looks like those guys may stay around another year because they can make more money. First of all, they can make more money at Georgia than they could as a rookie in the NFL or even a second-year player in the NFL.
Yeah.
And that offensive line is the reason that Gunnar Stockton and those running backs and receivers are starting to make names for themselves. And we said this before the season. We say this before every season. Just because you don't know who the players are right now, doesn't mean they won't be household names when the season's over. And you're starting to see some of these guys flash and some of these guys step out. And you're starting to. And who knew who Zayden Walker was? Who knew? Who knew who Elias Williams was? Who knew? Yeah. There's so many players that were. We knew him, but you didn't know him. Even the casual Georgia fans didn't know him. But going into next season, you'll be thinking like, "Oh, we are stacked." Yeah, and like we told you, just give them some time to develop.
100%, and flip it over to the defense. You know what Georgia's losing on defense? These are all big losses, but it's 3. Kristen Miller, C.J. Allen, Dalen Evans.
Maybe Raylan. Maybe not Raylan. But that's it.
Maybe Raylan could get a good
we also
draft grade and go in. I mean,
we also told you folks that this is like 4 or 5 weeks ago that if Georgia was going to find the pass rush, they were going to learn to dominate defensively. Their deepest and most talented position group was the linebackers.
That's it.
And you've seen that start to happen.
Right.
And if they lose a couple of linebackers, that's the deepest position group that they have.
You can't hurt Georgia by taking a linebacker or two. We saw Zayden Walker run down a running quarterback from the back in the SEC title game and make a picture-perfect tackle. And there's a plethora behind him. Dalen Everett's a DGD. We're going to miss him. C.J. Allen, can't even speak of how great he is. Could possibly be in line for a Butkus Award this year, but his best football still ahead of him going forward. And Kristen Miller, my goodness, just collapsing the pocket into the quarterback. And
Kristen Miller, he's like he does stuff that don't show up in the box score.
Right, because when you push a guard or a tackle into the face of a quarterback, here's what Kristen Miller did in the SEC title game. You can go back and watch this play. They're pulling a backside guard. Kristen Miller hits his guy so hard, he hits the backside guard that's pulling and prohibits him from pulling. He knocks the guard covering him into the pulling guard and blows up the whole play. He doesn't make the tackle, but he knocks out 2 offensive linemen in one play. That type of thing is invaluable.
I will say that for a long time with Alabama, I guess the graphic was 2nd and 26.
Right.
If you guys are short-term college football fans, you might not know that was when Georgia had a chance, had a sack. And with a lead against Alabama in overtime, and then the 2nd 26 play to Dante, it was a Smith, the touchdown pass, and now it's -3.
-3 has replaced 2nd and 26. No one even knows what 2nd and 26 is. It's -3, guys.
That's the temperature. -3 is the temperature against Alabama because they had -3 yards rushing. Now I will say that was stipulated because of the sacks and lost yardage plays, but still, your rushing yardage was -3.
Yeah.
And that only happens if you are a team that is great in the trenches and you got folks on Xavier McLeod, Kristen Miller, and Gabe Harris and Quinn Johnson, with other guys popping in there and making plays, being fresh. Doesn't happen without those guys. But yeah, Alabama, 2 losses, 4 losses, 4 losses. I don't think they're going. I'm saying 4 because I don't think they're going to win a natty this year.
Let me give you this stat real quick, Troop. Saban from 2019 to 2023 had 8 losses. Let me say that again. 2019 to 2023, Saban had 8 losses. They're about to do that in 2 seasons.
And 2 seasons. 2 seasons. And the thing is that wasn't the heyday of Alabama.
Right.
There was a time like from 2010 to 2016, 17.
Yeah, they were a one-loss team every year.
Dominating.
Different
12 time.
12-1, 13-1, 11-2, 12-2, 14-1, 14-1, 13-1, 14-1, 11-2, 13-0 in 2020. And now we're looking at 8 losses in 2 seasons.
Yeah. And I think that Kirby Smart is very good at adapting. The thing that I love about Kirby Smart the most, and because I do love his attention to detail and the standard he sets, but if things aren't going according to how this standard, he will make a change.
Yes.
And so you folks pay attention. He said in the offseason, we're going to stop the run. We're going to run the ball. He brought in people. He brought in experts. He brought in NFL folks to say, let's focus on this. And so he brought in Phil Rosher and John Lilly. And he's like, we're gonna rework our run game. We're gonna figure it out. We're gonna figure out whatever's happening on the offensive line. We're gonna give Stacey Searles whatever help he needs.
Yep.
We're gonna get these guys that we're gonna do what we need to do offensively. And Georgia has shown you, based on what Kirby identified, and didn't just cross his fingers and say these guys will get better. We'll figure it out.
Right.
Which was what 99.9% of all college programs will do. We'll figure it out. What's our other options? That's what they say. Kirby Smart, like he's not happy with that, not satisfied with it, and he brought people in to address it. And it wasn't just coach speak; they have done it, and I really think that look at the stats if you want to. Georgia stopped the run all year.
Yep.
And as the defense has progressed and gotten more experience, and he's kind of moved people in and out and find out what they were about, and coached them up, they've gotten better and better.
So much.
And you saw that. I think the culmination was against Alabama, but you've seen it trending that way defensively because Georgia hasn't given up much in the past few games. I mean,
No.
Texas. What did Texas score? Texas didn't do anything offensively.
Nothing.
And, it were teams, Georgia Tech, one of the best offensive teams, one of the toughest offensive teams to defend.
0 touchdowns.
0 touchdowns. Yeah. And it continued to progress. He's like, okay, maybe that was an anomaly. It wasn't.
No.
And Alabama, a team that had no issue in the first, on September 27th, Alabama made Georgia look like they were a high school team in the first half.
They did.
Everything they wanted was they were prepared for. They looked for it. Georgia flipped the script on that. They were prepared for everything. And but it was more so looking at as we wrap up just talking about this past season, it was more so because they trusted players who had proven themselves. When you look at DeMello Jones and Ellis Robinson, Dalen Everett, and then Rashawn Dinkins came in.
Oh,
they trusted those guys, and even who is the defensive back, Ja'Cory Thomas.
What some great open field tackles.
Just came in and did their job. So that allowed the rest of those guys to muddy up the first and second level. So Alabama had nothing to look at. That everything that Ty Simpson was used to finding when he got pressured, and Georgia pressured you more than you had been pressured since the Auburn game. But Georgia pressured you more than they pressured anybody. It looked like a Texas game where Georgia just said, no, we don't think you can do anything. We know what you're going to do. We're coming after you.
Yeah, we dare you.
Solve it. Yeah. Solve it. And they couldn't because Georgia was prepared. There was no – so in the first game, Smooch, there was a lot of midsection between that defensive line and the defensive back.
And the secondary,
8 to 10 yards. There was a lot of open space there. And Georgia trusted those guys one-on-one and then muddied up that midsection where Ty Simpson had nothing to go to. So you saw him hold the ball longer. And you saw Georgia, even when he didn't get sacked, he was – how many times did he just drop back and had to run for his life and throw the ball off his back foot?
It was, over 40% of the time he was pressured. So, I mean, it was a whole thing. I'll tell you, Troop, for me, you speak about running the ball and stopping the run. They stopped the run against Bama with 4 people. That's ridiculous for SEC powerhouses to be able to stop the run with that, which means now that we've got the defensive backfield playing the game they're playing, we can pin our ears back and get on the quarterback. And then get this, Dog Show fans, when it comes down to running the ball, we've seen the offensive line step up. We've seen this offensive line turn into monsters. Let's not even sugarcoat it. Georgia's offensive line are monsters. And now Nate Frazier, guys, 131 yards away from the coveted 1,000-yard rushing season, which we haven't seen in quite some time.
He's running the ball so differently because we called it like maybe game 3 that he was not RB1 anymore.
Right.
Maybe it was against Alabama.
It was Bama. RB1. It was Bama, yeah.
Because, we saw what Chauncey Bowens was doing. We became Chauncey Bowens believers. He's been banged up lately.
Yeah, he's
still that kind of back.
He's battling, though. Yeah.
Nate Frazier is running so aggressively. He's taking his time. He's got a good pace. And he is running over people to get those extra 2 and 3 yards. And that's what you kind of need. And he may not be the guy who's going to take you 60 yards for a touchdown, but that's not Georgia. Georgia didn't, I guess Alabama, did they have how many plays did they have over 20 yards? I don't think they had any.
0. It was 0.
They didn't need it.
Yeah.
Because they controlled the game, and they have that. They have that. And once you kind of come up, Alabama does a great job. And even though Georgia won that game 28-7, don't be lost on the fact that Alabama did a really, really good job of preventing explosive plays. That was their thing. They did a good job of that.
Yes,
it didn't matter because Georgia's defense gave them great field position to score quick and easy touchdowns. And even on the interception where the penalty backed them up past the 50, Georgia took like 14 plays to score, and that's okay. That's hard to do. If you have to be buttoned up and really detail oriented and a quarterback who can manipulate that to score on those top drives, and Georgia can do that. They can if you try to keep them from doing that, guess they will take advantage of it and score quickly on you.
Right.
But you don't. Most teams don't want that. They want to get the ball back. So there's not. That's a difference when the SEC sometimes, Smooch, and some of these other teams we're playing. They're going to take some different risk. Mm-hmm. And Georgia will punish you for that. It's just depending on what you're going to give us. Georgia has shown you the ability to win a close game or win a game where they had to go to the fourth quarter. They have to win a game where it's predominantly short passing and running, or they can win a game like Ole Miss and Tennessee, and they can or Mississippi State, and they can hurt you extensively with the pass. Don't think you can beat Georgia any other way. Unless Georgia beats themselves right now. And Georgia, there's some people predicting Georgia win a national championship. It's going to require a team who has been tested. Name another team that's been tested in the fourth quarter.
There it is.
Other than Georgia. Nobody knows where they're made of in the fourth quarter other than Georgia. Name a team, folks. Put it in the chat. Who has proven what they can do in the fourth quarter above what Georgia has shown you they can do when they're tested? They can win any way they need to win.
Come on. And and not only that, they're comfortable there. The deep water is what we always call it. In the deep water, Georgia's the more comfortable of any team because they know they can do it. They're not worried when they're down 3 on their last drive. That's not even a concern. And I think that, one of the things I've talked to some Georgia fans about this week is what about Gunner's game in the SEC title game? You mean the game where he threw 3 touchdowns and no interceptions? Let me tell you, Kirby knew after that blocked punt what this game was going to be. He knew exactly what it was going to be, and he knew what it would take to win it. And he choked the life out of Alabama while scoring 28 points. That's a great game. This is not Tennessee, where you try and score all these points and then hope your defense can hold on. Kirby sees offense and defense as having a symbiotic relationship, one relying on the other for mutual advantage. So when Kirby figures out, I can go 60 yards in 14 plays, well, guess what? If you don't have the ball, you can't score. And that's exactly what happened with Alabama. Rest assured, if Gunner needs to throw for 400 to beat Tulane or Ole Miss, he'll throw for 400. And that'll be what we do. But at this point in the season, I just don't see it. The defense is playing at a high level. The offense is comfortable. They know who their leader is. And I just feel like going forward in this playoff, Georgia has not just momentum. I feel like Georgia has all the momentum. Georgia and Indiana. I don't know of any 2 teams with more momentum. Talent-wise, I'd love to see the 2 of them on the same field.
Please, because that would be a national championship. And, and before we talk about a little bit about some other teams, I will say that the 2 things that have given me them looking at this season as a whole in conversation is the way Gunnar Stockton's played, and then the way that Zach Araya Branch has changed this offense. Because I think we're going to have a whole show, maybe a Troop and Smooch After Dark about Mike Bobo and how he has.
That's a great
maybe eclipsed what Monken has done. He hasn't won a championship yet.
I agree.
But in terms of just watching the play calling, folks, we talked about this a month ago, and I was like, Moose, let's do a podcast. Let's do a segment on Mike Bobo because nobody believes in him, and I'm seeing some stuff that is opposite of what people are jumping on particular plays, and he is used tendencies,
yes,
to what other teams. And there was really there was 2 plays in this past game against Alabama that accentuated that. One was the first touchdown of the game.
Yep.
And Georgia was looking at a goal line play, and they ran the I. And I love the I formation. We had 3 tight ends on that. We had a fullback and a running back. The running back was McCray. You know McCray's getting that ball.
You know he's getting the ball, True.
You've seen the video of him like picking up people and slamming them and getting in the end zone. You know McCray's getting that ball. I know McCray's getting that ball.
We all knew McCray was getting that ball.
He was getting that ball so much that he felt that Rod Robinson, as the fullback, fell down and still got outside and got the touchdown pass. And even if he didn't get that touchdown pass, there were 2 other plays available. Now the secondary read was Elias Williams breaking outside. He was covered pretty well. But if they covered Rob, you know what Gunnar Stockton was going to do? He was going to walk into the end zone backwards if you need to.
Right. He decides that
was the only option. And so that play was a tendency breaker because they haven't run that play before, and they're going to give it to him right there. Mm-hmm. And Georgia's going to try to power it through you, or they're going to do what we credited Monken for so long doing with confusing you and surprising you and doing something you didn't expect and making it easy touchdown play. And that was one of those plays. What was the other Tennessee breaker, Smooch? I think it was another. The other Tennessee breaker was they use quite frequently when they show you the screen. And if you don't rush up to stop Zach Branch on a screenplay, then he's going to hurt you anyway. You can do either. Do it. Make your choice.
Yeah.
And so they didn't rush up to. They did rush up to stop him, and then you got a tight end who's like faking the block and then rolling out. You got Lucky on a little rail route out there, he's going to be wide open. You got to make a choice because Lucky's going to block you. Most of the times, Lucky's there to block and to create some space, create a lane for Zach Branch. But when he doesn't, you're going to pick up 25 yards.
That's exactly right.
And so at this point in the season, Georgia's created that where you're like in between of the defense. What are we going to stop? Because you're going to run the ball a lot. And Zach Branch as a screen is like a running play, right, Smooch?
That's 100%. And just like any other running play, once you establish it as part of your repertoire that you're going to over and over and over again, they run it like play action, right?
You nailed it. That's what it is. It's a play action play if you don't want to use that.
It's a play action play. Yeah, exactly. And so they can line up for this screen and go to it where it looks like any other 1st and 10 play, any other 2nd and 7 play.
And you better stop Zach Branch 100% of the time if you don't.
You've got to stop him because he breaks ankles and he crushes dreams. and you come up and then there's a guy hitting the seam. There's a guy up the sideline. There's a guy over the middle. It could be
London Humphreys, Delp, or it could be it could be Lucky. Those guys are going to take it. That's a play off of that Bobo is using to 100%. Really damage defenses.
Right. He's using the threat of that to absolutely confuse defenses. People say, why do we run this so much? They know it's coming. You'll see him even taken for a loss.
Stop right there.
Yeah.
You know why he's using that? I get this all the time. So many screens because of this time of the season.
That's exactly it.
Because we're not trying to win 9 games. We're trying to win a natty.
There you go. We're not trying to win by 60. We're trying to win a natty.
Trying to win a natty, folks.
That's right. It's about trying to win it's about a much bigger goal, and they set that up by doing that type of thing. When you get the ball, first of all, Zachariah Branch is the most dangerous man in college football with the ball in his hands. I will argue that all day long. Why wouldn't you get the ball to him?
If you disagree, fans, tell us who's better with the ball in hands. Tell us who's better. Tell us.
And you can't say the kid from Alabama because he never gets the ball into his hands.
He can't catch the ball.
It hits him in the chest and falls on the ground. So that doesn't count. It's not Ryan Williams. But you establish this. And we even saw late in the game, right, Georgia's last touchdown, the final touchdown for Georgia in the Alabama game. They run just a very basic dive play, get stopped dead. They run yet another. This might have been an off tackle. I can't remember. But a very basic run play. They get stopped.
And people are saying, why are we doing that?
Dead. And they're like, oh, they're obviously going to run 3 running plays up the middle and then kick the field goal to go up 3 scores because that's what makes sense to everyone. And I'm even telling people in my house, they're going to do that. They're going to kick the field goal. It's 3 scores. It's not the amount of points at this point. It's the amount of scores. It's 3 scores.
Yes.
And then what do? They go back to the play. They maybe know better than an off-tackle run, and that is the screen to Zachariah Branch, which, by the way, was supposed to be a tunnel screen that was shut down, but because of Cash Jones faking the overthrow, it opened up the outside lane. If you watch that, Cash Jones pretends as though Gunnar Stockton has overthrown him. He leaps in the air like he's trying to catch the ball. The ball goes to Zachariah Branch.
He plays a block now.
Right. Pulls the outside guys, and so Zachariah has what you call a cutback lane. The tunnel's not there. He takes the cutback lane untouched into the end zone. Look, Bobo's having an awesome year, guys. Listen, we're all about bashing a coach that's not getting it done, but what we're going to talk about in the weeks to come. Look, I think Bobo has surpassed Monken. I believe it firmly, and I believe there's no guy I'd rather have right now. I didn't think I would say that 2 years ago, but I believe it now.
People won't agree with you until we win the ultimate prize, and
that's right.
Some of those, but. The point is accurate that Bobo's having a spectacular season. He's not an issue. People who wanted to say, "Well, we run pass," and that's done. If you want to stay on that, and I've fought that battle because I talk to a lot of fans every week in my line of work, and the low hanging fruit is always to blame Bobo. I'm like, that's not what's going on. Even when we weren't scoring the same way. it was not because of Bobo, because they don't look at the same. When you break down film and look at film, you kind of see why plays don't work, and it's not ever been the reason. And so you say, well, maybe Kirby Smart knew what he was doing. Maybe he wasn't just friends with Bobo. Maybe Bobo was bringing something that he trusted and that was special. And you're starting to see that and it all changed when the offensive line started to gel. And Malachi Tolliver didn't hurt us at all. And now he's got 3 weeks to kind of get even better.
Yeah.
And you got Gunnar Stockton, who's willing to do whatever. And so I'll say this: I want to wrap up the Georgia section before we finish out our podcast and talk about one other team. I will say that Georgia's offense recently with Gunnar Stockton has been about getting. And I haven't even talked to you about this in the pre-show. It's about getting to 3rd and 2.
Yes.
If Georgia gets to 3rd and 2, 3rd and 3, 3rd and 1, you can't stop them. You cannot stop them. And and with Gunnar Stockton, sometimes people get irritated because he doesn't throw a pass and he decides to tuck it and run. He gets like 4 or 5 yards. You're like, cut the ball loose. Cut it. You had a guy potentially open. You might have got him. And he gets the ball down to 3rd and 2.
Right.
And you can't stop Georgia at 3rd and 2. Not this year. With Carson Beck, you could. And I'm not.
Great point. No, that's right. That's right.
It's just a different team. With 3rd and 2 against Georgia, even if it comes to 4th and 1, you can't stop Georgia at that this year. You can't. And Gunnar Stockton is consistently getting you into 3rd and 2. If it's a 3rd down, it's a 3rd and 2, buddy boy, because he's getting you there. He's putting down his head and getting yards. You're like, why is he running the ball here?
Yeah,
he's getting you a position where Georgia does what they do best.
Yeah,
and that's one of those little nuances that we don't always see. But look at it. If you look at game film and look at where he gets you, he may turn down a pass and get down and run the ball for 4 yards. You're like, I should have thrown it. And then they convert it and they keep moving the chains, and that's what.
And the same touchdown happens. It just happens with 6 more minutes being taken off the clock. And I'll tell you something else. We talk about tendency breakers, guys. When the Dogs have a 2nd and 2 or a 2nd and 3, and they give it to Frazier, who picks up the first down, that's a tendency they're trying to establish for what? The college football playoff. Don't be surprised at all. You see, let's say Frazier goes for 7 yards on the first play. You got 2nd and 3. Okay. That's usually going to be a screen or a handoff to Frazier or Bowens or whatever. Don't be surprised if you see Gunnar pull that ball out of the gut and chuck it deep to a Noah Thomas or even a Delp hitting the seam.
A Colby Young.
Or Colby Young. Ooh, fingers crossed, guys. I don't want to say too much, but
coming back.
Colby Young, guys. Hey, you're hearing it here right now. There's
getting ready.
There's real smoke to this fire. They're maybe not for the first playoff game, but there could be a Colby Young sighting before this is all over.
Yeah, I love that part, and that's the nuances of running a championship program that we are always privy to, and we criticize until we get to a point where we're like, okay, well, I see you, Kirby Smart.
You've
I
earned
see you,
it.
Mike Bobo, and Glenn Schumann, and they're doing a great job, and they're keeping everybody together. There is another, because we got a few weeks to talk about, Georgia offense and all that going forward. I do want to,
and we will be covering the playoff bracket at some point too. We're not doing it.
Yeah,
Go ahead.
we can't wait. We really can't wait. We could do a 3-hour program right now. We can't wait for that. We're gonna do that soon. But the other thing is and I want to send a quick shout out before I talk about Notre Dame. I want to send a quick shout out to our guys. Like I said, I think I already said Tyler Brinson, my son, Marcia Gary, Scott Fitzgerald, Chad Kennedy,
yes,
and then some of our big followers on social media. You say Mike Maddox, Was it Fantastic Six? Is that
Fantastic
one of the
Six, yeah.
He's awesome, dude. Awesome, good stuff.
Got his own show now, by the way. Check it out.
Yeah. So all those guys are big followers for us, and we appreciate you guys. But and chime in on our chat group. We love to talk on our chat. Notre Dame, Smooch.
Yes.
We've always talked about Notre Dame to thinking they were entitled to this or that, and the media. It felt more so the media was like giving them a break every year, elevating them to a point they didn't need to be in. This is the one time I can remember where whatever happened didn't benefit Notre Dame, and they are losing their mind. Losing.
We were getting ready for the playoff selection show or whatever it's called. And by the way, had it not been for a power outage in my hometown, I would have never been able to watch it. But there was a power outage here, so I ended up on Sunday at 11 sitting on my couch. And so, but we had been talking about it and what we predicted it would be. And I felt I had a good handle on it. And early on I did. And then when it came down to, you got Bama was still out. Notre Dame hadn't been. Bama, Notre Dame, and Miami had not been announced yet. As soon as Bama was announced, I said, there is no way this committee, even though they should have, there's no way this committee takes Miami over Notre Dame. And it was for that reason. Notre Dame is so entitled and so perpetually overrated and propped up. And then, lo and behold, they did. And so Miami gets in over Notre Dame. Completely surprised. But you have seen, Troop Brinson, you have seen the most entitled fandom in sports take to the social medias with some of the most insane stuff.
Because they really thought, I didn't know this because Notre Dame fans aren't prevalent on our social media, but we saw so much stuff that they were like, we're the face of college football. And
yes,
this
the brand,
shows you.
The brand, right? Wasn't that word used all the time? We're the brand.
That if you do this to us, everybody's talking about us. And they quickly shifted towards towards that we're talking about them so much that shows you that Notre Dame is the team that everybody cares about, everybody loves, and the team that deserves it. And we're like, no, you're doing the opposite. You're validating what we think of you already, and that we look at your schedule, we know what you play. It's out there. It's not. Nobody's confused about the schedule that you play and you manipulate to have. But if you lose the 2 games that you have to win, the 2 games, I don't care put it whenever you want it. First 2 games, last 2 games, I don't care. If you lose those games, then you're going to be open for speculation or for criticism or for leaving you out. And it matters. Those games matters. I really wish that this wouldn't have helped Notre Dame. I wish the committee would have focused more on your wins, the quality of your wins, than your losses. Everybody's going to lose some games they shouldn't lose. That's if you follow college football, there's teams that you should beat easily that sometimes you don't, or you beat them closely. If you beat a team that you should win 10 out of 10 times, and they have the opportunity to beat you, sometimes they will. Sometimes they will. We've seen that happen. Yeah. It's going to happen. Right. And I would rather them focus on the teams that you win, but Notre Dame doesn't have that going for them either. They're just Notre Dame, and they have a entitlement to who they are. We've been talking about them for years. Notre Dame, you're not special. Not in this day and age of college football. You can't
barely relevant. Right, exactly.
We were begging to play you. Was it 2012?
Yeah,
begging to play you. Was it? We lost the Alabama game with Aaron Murray. There's a crazy game with a tip pass at the end of the game. We would have another natty if we played that game, but then again, Mark Richt might have been here for longer. So there's a question for that too. Yeah. But anyway, Notre Dame, we know you. I think most real college football fans know who you are. All the social media discussion is just really just further letting us know that you don't know who you are. You don't know where you fit.
Right. And no self-awareness.
It is. It's a lack of self-awareness as a program. You still got to do it. If you lose, and I put this out there on Twitter a couple days ago, because just a short time ago, if you lost a game, Smooch, if you lost one game,
right,
you might not have a chance to even play in any kind of national championship. Right. Don't lose any games. That was the standard. Don't lose at all. Now you're losing 2 games and thinking about, oh, we got robbed. Are you kidding me?
Exactly.
Are you kidding me?
Yeah.
Don't lose 2 games. You got to win them all. If you got any argument, don't lose a game.
Mm-hmm.
So
100%. Yeah, it's been crazy to see. It's been crazy to watch, and I get the initial shock of not being included when you're used to being mollycoddled by the national media.
And Smooch, do we love Marcus Freeman? Is he awesome?
Love Marcus Freeman. He's a great coach. He beat Kirby Smart last year.
Him.
Yeah, we'd love to come on over. We'll take you right now, buddy. By the way,
awesome dude.
Absolutely, but no, it is they're detached from reality. True, Brinson.
The fans are, yes.
Yeah, absolutely.
And apparently their athletic director is as well. Yeah, their athletic director did not. He was detached, just almost like a fan. And I think with the MOU with Notre Dame that they passed this year. I know they're talking about right now, and that's not going to change anything. We've all got our opinions on Notre Dame right now, and most people are saying, well, you can't lose 2 games and have any kind of ability to determine where you're going to go. I don't care if it happens right the first of the season. They did lose 2 games, close games early. You got to win them. You got to find a way to win those games, and then you can have some say-so later on. But after this year, and I've heard today that other programs, other athletic directors are not cool with that MOU, the memorandum of understanding, that if they finish in the top 12, and Smooch is putting his headphones on, I'm going to let him involved. If Notre Dame finishes in the top 12, Smooch, then they will be guaranteed a spot. There's a lot of programs out there pushing back right now saying, no, we will freeze you out. We will not put you on the schedule.
That's right.
If you think that you're going to get that advantage from not joining a conference, just join a conference, play in a title game in the conference, and you can solve all that. If you really, really thought that was the end-all, be-all, you'd join the ACC in terms of football, won that conference, and there would not be a question. You thought it was benefiting you to not join a conference because of the money, first of all, and being able to pick your schedule, second of all, that wouldn't hurt you. But they feel like this was a potential national championship season. I don't think it was.
No,
but they're really hinging on this was a season we could have won everything this season. So I'm so irritated and upset that we didn't get a chance to do it this season. But you lost 2 games. Ohio State last year did lose 2 games and win a natty. Not Notre Dame, not built the same way.
And this year's Notre Dame team is not as good as last year's Notre Dame team.
It's not. Right. And they keep pointing out the fact that, we beat Georgia last year. I'm like, but you fail to point out that Georgia had a quarterback. Is a quarterback important? Is a quarterback the instigator, the catalyst in terms of your offense? They had a quarterback starting their first game in his college career.
First start of his college career.
They missed that one.
And they get out of it and they go and they lose. The whole thing, it just encapsulates what I call the blue blood elitism of college football. And that is that certain people and certain fan bases and even certain athletic directors think that just because of the name and what they perceive as, this term kept coming up, right? Their brand and how important they were, that they somehow have prominence.
They deserved it.
And didn't they lose both their games in a row? I mean, wasn't it 2 games in a row?
0-2.
Yeah, 0-2 to start the season. No other team stays in the top 50 if they go 0-2 to start the season, but Notre Dame. If Tennessee, let's say this, if Tennessee starts the season 0-2, you're not going to see them in the rankings if they win their next game. It happened with Notre Dame. That type of thing is such high-level entitlement. Look, you lost your first 2 games. That tells me you're not winning a national championship. I know you might feel wrong, but you also got beat by Miami, who was the team on the bubble. Do I wish James Madison and Tulane weren't in the playoff? Absolutely. I'd much rather have Notre Dame in than those 2 teams. But you knew the rules, you knew the parameters, you know how the committee does things, and you lost your first 2 games. And so that alone, what are you surprised about? You know, when you win against the high school teams you play, if you don't want to be left out, it's just a complete disconnect from what college football is, which we've always known about Notre Dame. There's some other teams that kind of operate in the same delusion as well, but possibly none as much as Notre Dame, and it's being exemplified here.
Well, yeah, and Notre Dame did lose to Miami 27-24, and then really late play by A&M 41-40. But their losses, and they matter. And then if you played a schedule where you could redeem yourself, that's a different thing. That did not happen. Their best win after that, Smooch, was against a team that wishes where they were Notre Dame, that talks the big game every year and never produces. That was USC. If you're gonna think that the USC game is the game that you're gonna hang your hat on, and you did beat those guys. Let's see, 34-24. It's USC. USC is trying to get to a point where they are a team that's competitive for a playoff berth. They're not that team. They're not a team.
They're barely above 500. They're barely above 500 every year.
They're a team that's more talk. Yeah. They're a team that talks more in the offseason and then produces a little in the season until it's different. That's what it's been. So Notre Dame, when you set it up that way, you play your 2 toughest games at the start of the season and you lose both of those games.
There you go.
Lose them. You don't have any really way to redeem yourself. I'm hearing these guys saying we had an epic run. They're
the best 10-game run in the history of
athletic. Director said it was like an epic run, a historic run. I'm like, against who? Look, I can name some teams off: Purdue, Arkansas, Boise. Is this Boise State? NC State, USC, Boston College, Navy, Pittsburgh, Syracuse, Stanford. No, those aren't teams that are doing anything this year.
No.
If you could name a couple of playoff teams, and we would be like, okay, yeah, let's go. I don't hate Notre Dame this season for any reason in particular other than it's a typical season for Notre Dame. If it was an atypical season for Notre Dame where they played a schedule that was like, dang, buddy, you've proved yourself. Right. You showed who you are. You didn't just stack it in a way that would benefit you and then complain and whine about it. That's Notre Dame. To me, that's Notre Dame football.
100%.
And if it's a 12-team playoff. You can't get into that. Buddy, back up. Win them all. If you got a problem, win them all. Don't tell me if you don't win them all, don't tell me you deserve to win the playoffs because you don't.
Right.
Win them all. Win every game. Be undefeated. And then you got an argument. Because you don't.
The whole thing that's crazy about it is if you think about it this way, if you put those first 2 losses, what is it? It's A&M and Miami, right?
Yes.
You put those losses at the end of the season, no one would be arguing for Notre Dame. Had in game 11 and game 12, Notre Dame lost to Miami and A&M, no one would be considering it. That's because those are the only 2 teams of quality you played. Look, I know USC is a brand, and I know they've got the #1 recruiting class, and we know that they once had Reggie Bush.
Reggie Bush, yes.
Yeah, we get it. But they're not an elite team. They're barely, on their best day, an average team. and that is your best win in all of this, that is not a championship pedigree. You do not deserve to be in the playoff. And quite frankly, if Miami beat you head to head, they deserve to be in with the same record. And
Easy.
let's see Gunnar Stockton and Carson Beck meet up in the playoff. Wouldn't that be fun?
Much better. And yeah, that's the thing, Smooch. And I think that the committee gave them false hope when they shouldn't have all along. That's the whole. That's really
that's
what
true.
it boils down to.
Yeah.
On those Tuesday nights when they put that show out and they had Notre Dame ahead of a team that beat them over and over. Notre Dame was like, oh, okay, they're respecting us. We're respected. We did,
do you think the committee bowed to public pressure to flip Notre Dame and Miami? That's a great question.
Rightly so. They did.
Yeah.
But it was the
right.
right argument.
It's correct. Right.
It was the right argument all along.
Mm-hmm.
And yes, they did. They flipped them at the end, but because they got pressure, because it made no sense. Right. It made no sense, and we don't love Miami. I don't have much more respect for Miami than I do for Notre Dame. I respect Notre Dame more because of their coach, Marcus Freeman.
He's a good guy.
But 2 losses, you lost to a team head. They should have never been ahead of Miami head to head, and that's what caused the problems. And if you get it right in the end, it doesn't matter. Neither of those teams are winning a national championship. You get an extra game, maybe.
That's it. But
then when you think you're above everything, Smooch, and you're just going to take your ball and go home and not play in a bowl game.
Oh, what a beta.
And I'm going to choose. I had an argument today at the bar. And I choose not to believe this has got anything to do with Marcus Freeman. He may end up coaching the NFL. I say this is not about Marcus Freeman because I like him so much. We both like him.
Yeah.
This is the players kind of reacting and the athletic director react. Bavakwa so quickly after that decision. It's not don't. Because as a coach, I would have came out and said, no, we're going to play this game because here's what you get. Forget about winning a natty. You get 15 extra practices to develop your team for next year.
There you go.
Valuable, very valuable. You think Kirby Smart or a serious SEC team would give that up? They wouldn't because I don't care what it means in terms of winning natty or whatever. Those practices matter for those freshmen and sophomores, those guys you're going to depend on. Development matters. Development matters.
Yeah.
Notre Dame. And just because you're upset and ticked off, that looks so foolish in terms of a program and a culture. Don't do that. That makes you look like you don't really care. You're trying to prove a point.
What happened to Georgia when they were ranked number 1, lost in the SEC title game by a couple of points, and then were booted from the playoff? That happened to Georgia. What'd they do?
A point.
They proved a point. They went and beat the brakes off Florida State.
Undefeated Florida State team.
An undefeated Florida State team. Troop, me, and our 2 gorgeous blonde wives watched that from a hot tub in North Georgia, and it was glorious. And we watched that absolute the beatdown was so bad we took them out to dinner in the 4th quarter, and then the restaurant had the game up for us too, so it worked out.
And then we talked about the retirement of Nick Saban possibly.
Yeah.
Yes. Yeah, that's what it's like to be part of the Dog Show, by the way, if you didn't know that. That's what we do.
That's exactly what it's right.
Prognosticate and talk from the point of relevance and standard and excellence. Because even when Florida State did much better than Notre Dame, they still had so many opt-outs that they had an excuse, but not a great excuse. When you lose 63-3, there ain't no good excuses for that. And so maybe Notre Dame thought – I did hear that Notre Dame thought there would be a lot of people opting out, and they didn't want to expose themselves to that kind of a loss either.
Oh, so Georgia could have caused it with the Florida State beatdown is what you're saying. They could have set the precedent for that.
They may have saw that and said, we ain't going to lose by 50 points to don't want to do that.
Yeah. Get matched up with Tennessee or something and lose by 60 or something.
I think they severely damaged whatever brand they thought they had.
Yeah. And I think that it's really tough the first time your reality is proven to you to be a false or delusional reality. And I think that's where the Notre Dame athletic department and where the Notre Dame fan base is. They're understanding that, and I can't believe they haven't understood this, that college football does not revolve around them and does not need them at all. Join a conference like everybody else. You're not special. If you want to be special, join a conference and win it. And then you can just waltz right into the playoff. But this outsider mentality, this refusal to join a conference as though somehow they are above and beyond the criteria for every other team. It's a glorious thing to watch this all crumble around them right now. It brings me great joy and satisfaction.
The great thing is that we're looking from the inside and looking out like, oh, you folks, whether it be Notre Dame or whoever, you guys don't have it figured out. And us Georgia Bulldogs, we what we do? We win ball games. We win.
Yeah.
And this year Georgia's 12-1.
Mm-hmm.
And one of the youngest teams in college football.
Yeah.
Just continuing to win because of their standard and their culture. And people were picking at Georgia and saying, well, you hadn't won since 1980. Now they're talking about some speeding tickets. They're still throwing that out there. I'm like,
that's all they got.
If you think that is the representative of what Georgia's culture is about, you don't really want to, you don't collide with the truth very often. And you accountable.
100%.
Georgia Bulldogs will hold their players accountable, and they will hold you accountable when you come to meet them. And if you're not ready, they will expose it. And they've exposed it all year long. And this has been a fun season, Smooch.
Beautiful.
I looked at this schedule. I didn't know how it would turn out. I was excited about last year and this year. The schedules were spectacular.
Yeah.
And we had more home games this year in Georgia. It was a fun time. I can't wait to at some point, maybe in February, look back on YouTube and watch some of these games again. Because there's so many games that were just there were probably 4 games that I would typically in a season find one game to go back and I want to watch this game again. It's like 4 games, and we haven't even hit the playoffs yet.
No,
and so
the thing is, Troop, with anything else, it's like when you go through, this season has been a slog, a struggle for Georgia, and some embarrassing moments and some soul-searching moments for the team. And for us as fans, some really frustrating moments. And there is this thing that happens when you go through things like that, when you endure them together and somehow end up in a position of prominence, in a position of dominance, that there's this rewarding feeling you get, and even as fans, I know the players feel like they have faced defeat 4 times this year and have won each of those. Alabama game was standing. They have faced defeat on 3 or 4 other occasions, and they've come out on top. They feel like they've been through it together, and the fans feel like that this year because this year has been frustrating. There's been calls for Bobo to be fired, Schumann to be fired, offensive line coach, drawing a blank.
Searles.
Searles to be fired. There's been calls for Frazier to be demoted from RB1. All those, Gunner even to be benched. All of those. Quarterback. Yeah, backup quarterback's always the most popular player, but all of those have resulted in, number one, Kirby remaining steadfast, knowing what's going on, and then this rewarding feeling of, look, we've been through it. This fan base is emotionally attached to this particular squad of Georgia because of the way this season has gone. I would say we are as much invested in this group of kids as we possibly have ever been going into this part of the season, and they're only going to get better. This is their baby season, guys. They're going to be together another year, and a lot of them 2 more years. And so that is the rewarding light at the end of the tunnel of this long and trying season.
Enjoy it, folks.
Yes.
Smooch nailed it. Enjoy it. Soak it up. If it ends in a natty, we'll celebrate it all together, but enjoy it.
Yes.
Because you're not guaranteed anything you're seeing. All the other programs are not guaranteed anything. We're in the heyday, in the glory days of Georgia football. It's been going on for a while now. Enjoy it. All these other teams are replacing coaches, and there's so much drama going on. It's not Georgia football. Georgia has a standard, and Kirby Smart is holding all his players, his administration, and he's holding college football to the standard because he is that dude right now.
He is.
Enjoy it, folks. Georgia 12-1. We got lots of commentary coming in the next couple of weeks.
So much
Longer than
more.
that. So much more. Let us know what you think about us doing a little side show, Troop and Smooch After Dark, where we talk about a little something that, maybe a couple of topics that maybe don't fit just right into this football. I mean, it's still football, but
This
let us know
format,
what you think
yeah.
about it
Yeah.
in the comments. We're so excited. But here we go. The real season starts. Elimination games from here on out. We're going to discuss those. Every possibility going forward, we'll talk about them, and we'll enjoy every other team's demise. And
Don't sleep on Tulane. That's all I'm saying. Don't sleep on Tulane.
them. All right, for Smooch Moncrief, this is Troop Brinson saying so long. We'll see you soon.
This is the Dog Show with Troop and Smooch.
It's the dog show.